Alaska Cruise Excursions can typically cost around $1,000 to $1,500 per person. But would you be surprised if I told you you could book a popular Alaska shore excursion ranging from $89 to $200? I'm going to share with you some popular Alaska Cruise excursions that you can book for $200 and less. And the most popular places that Alaska Cruises will hit are Juno, Skagway, and Ketchikan. Hey y'all, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Tiffany, and I was on an Alaskan cruise for 5 back-to-back weeks from mid-July through August. So I'm going to share with you some shore excursions that I found pretty cheap. Also, why my shore excursion that I booked was canceled. Plus, be sure to stay to the end so you can see what to pack and take on some of these shore excursions. I have my Juno sweatshirt on, so I have to start with Juno. Juno is a beautiful little town, capital of Alaska. There's so much to do just here at the port. If you're wanting to stay at the port, you're going to find a lot of really nice shops here, places to eat. I highly recommend going to and trying out Tracy's King Crab Shack. I love the crab legs and the crab cakes. But if you're looking for shore excursions, some of those popular shore excursions you're going to find in Juno are Mendenhall Glacier and whale watching. They are really known for whale watching in Juno. In fact, if you book a shore excursion in Juno for whale watching, they can almost guarantee you from May to September, you're going to see whales because that is the whale season. And when I was there around July, that was the humpback whale season. So you're going to see a lot of humpback whales around July. But we definitely saw a lot of whales. And we booked this shore excursion for $180. And actually, we booked this particular one through Viator. Now, I was a little skeptical at first. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to. After being there for a few weeks and talking to some of the locals, and a lot of them do work some of the different tourist attractions, they did convince me that I could save money if I booked through a third party such as Viator, and I could get some of the same benefits. So we absolutely loved it, and we made it back to our cruise in plenty of time to just kind of do some shopping at the port before heading back to the ship. And you don't have to spend a fortune to go and see something like this. Now, the Mendenhall Glacier, we didn't get a chance to actually go up to it, but the particular shore excursion that we booked, we took a bus, and the bus took us to a glimpse of Mendenhall Glacier. And even just getting to see this beautiful glimpse of Mendenhall Glacier from a distance was just absolutely breathtaking. Now, if you want to actually get to Mendenhall Glacier, there's different types of shore excursions that you can take. Now, you could take a helicopter there for like $600-700, but if you're trying to stay in that $200 range budget, you can actually book a Mendenhall Glacier around $200. Now, I have seen this on cruise line offers and also on third-party offers for TripAdvisor and Viator as well, depending on where you're looking. I highly recommend Mendenhall Glacier and whale watching if you're in Juno. Now, Skagway, known for their role in the Klondike Gold Rush, you're going to find so much history here on Broadway Street in Skagway. It is a gorgeous little town surrounded by snow-capped mountains. I absolutely love just walking around Broadway Street here in Skagway. Now, if you are planning on just staying here at the port, or if you just want to grab a bite to eat before or after a shore excursion, I highly recommend going to the Red Dog Saloon. Not only can you get some great chili and some chowder here, but they also are known to be one of the original brothels here in Skagway. So Skagway has a lot of history here as being one of the last towns that all the men came to before they were on their trek to hoping to strike it rich in the gold rush. So of course you got to have a brothel, right? So you can actually take a tour of this original brothel and kind of learn a little bit about the history and what Skagway was like during the gold rush. Now, if you're looking for a shore excursion in Skagway, one of the most popular ones is the White Pass Yukon Railway. Now, we did do this, and it was called the White Summit, and we booked it through our cruise line. Now, you can actually book this one not only through your cruise line. I didn't see it on a third party, to be honest, but you can book it there at Skagway. You can go to the little train station, and you can get your tickets, and you can book it there. There's a couple of different ways you could do this. You could do a round trip. It's going to cost you a little bit more, but you can also book a one-way. Now, for us, we did pay around $150 for a one-way on the White Pass Summit, and it took us through gorgeous, beautiful scenery of seeing the mountains and the glacier-fed water. It was just absolutely breathtaking. It was about an hour train ride up the summit to Fraser, British Columbia. Now, we weren't in Fraser, British Columbia for very long. We got a chance to get a little glimpse of it as we were getting off the train and pretty much walking straight over to the bus. We did take a bus back down from Fraser, British Columbia back down to Skagway. And on our way back, they stopped at the Alaska state site and several waterfalls. We absolutely loved just getting a chance to see all the scenery. It was a little different scenery than it was when we were on the train, but still gorgeous. Now, we did actually kind of couple this White Pass Summit with Liarsville. And that was like, I think it was like an extra $50 a person. You can book that through your cruise line or Viator or TripAdvisor. But really for me, I don't recommend it. And it's just because it was in the middle of the woods, there was bugs everywhere. Don't forget your bug repellent, seriously. But it just wasn't really something I enjoyed. They had a little show they put on, and for me, it was kind of subpar. They did serve us some blueberry cake when we got there. It was really good. But then we also did some gold panning. So that was really the main attraction to it, not only seeing and hearing about the history of Liarsville, but getting a chance to do some gold panning. Now, if you're wanting to do some gold panning, Skagway is definitely the place to do it since they're known for their role in the Klondike Gold Rush. You've got your choice of doing gold panning here in Skagway, and you can even book it here at the port instead of doing it on your cruise line if you want to. And you can usually get those pretty cheap, around $30, $40, $50 a person. Now, if you're wanting to stay in the port, enjoy the port, but maybe do a little hiking, that's free. I'm hoping I'm going to say this correctly, Yucatania Point. So it's a real short walk from the ships and it's a really nice walk, but be sure you bring some sturdy hiking shoes. You're going to go up a lot of different rocky areas, so it is unstable ground here and there, but definitely make sure you're wearing good stable shoes. But once you get over there, you're going to find some beautiful views, and you'll definitely see the cruise ships over to the side, so you can see that you don't go very far. Now, another popular port is Ketchikan. If you're headed to Ketchikan, I highly recommend heading over to Creek Street. Here at Creek Street is a quaint little area where you'll find some cute little shops and places that you can dine. But if you're there from mid-May to July, you might even see some salmon swimming upstream over here at Creek Street. Now, if you enjoy fishing, there's lots of salmon fishing excursions that you can also book here in Ketchikan. Now, some of the popular things to do that you could do just right here at the port is the Great Alaskan Lumberjack Show. This is a great show where you not only get to see a lumberjack show, but they also will serve you crab as well while you were there. It's about $180 a person, and you can book this there at the site, or you could book it through your cruise line. I highly recommend booking it through your cruise line because they do book up pretty fast. And there is usually a long line trying to get in when the show gets started. Now, if you're wanting to do something out and about around the area, a very popular shore excursion is bear watching. Now, if you're there from mid-July through September, that is the prime time to book some bear shore excursions. Now, the next one on my list is one that's not usually on a cruise itinerary, but in case you see it on yours, like we did with us, it is Haines. Now, Haines, Alaska is a really cute, authentic little town. You're not going to find all the tourist attractions here in Haines. It's a very small town. Now, you're still going to be able to find little places that you can dine at, but if you're looking for that big tourist attraction like you're going to see in Skagway and Juno, you're not really going to get that over here in Haines. Now, if you're wanting to book a shore excursion when you get here to have something to do, some of the most popular shore excursions here in Haines are going to be kayaking down the Chilkoot River and even eagle sighting. This is one of the best places for eagle sighting is here in Haines. In fact, we even saw an eagle right outside our cruise ship. Now, many cruise lines will go through the fjords, and that is this word here, so don't try to do what I did and pronounce the J. It's pronounced fjord. So a lot of cruise lines will go through the fjords to see Glacier Bay or Tracy Arm Fjord to see the Sawyer Glaciers, or even Endicott Arm to see the Dawes Glacier. We got a chance to go through Tracy Arm Fjord and Endicott Arm. Now, here's a tip. I do recommend to go during the warmer months because if it's too cold outside and there's a lot of ice chunks and icebergs everywhere, then the ship will not be able to get very far into the fjord before having to turn around. We were able to get a good ways in so that we could see the glacier off in the distance. Now they do have excursions that you can book on fjord days. For us, through our cruise line, we booked an excursion that was right at $200 a person, and we were able to go up to the Sawyer Glacier. I was so excited to do this, but yes, this is the excursion that was canceled. Now they had two different time slots, 7 a.m. and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We booked the 7 a.m. so we could get there early and see that glacier as soon as we were coming in, and the weather just was not permitting for us to be able to go that early in the morning. It was super foggy out, it was raining and a little stormy, so they unfortunately had to cancel the first excursion. But keep things like that in mind, that wherever you're going in Alaska, if you're booking an excursion, especially if you're booking a seaplane or a helicopter, that you need to keep things like the weather in mind for fog and rainy day. Now a tip, when you're going through the fjord, make this an early morning day. You're gonna get there early in the morning, and you wanna make sure that you get up early so you can find that perfect spot so you can see the glacier when the cruise ship gets down close enough to it. Now, if you do have a balcony, even more the better. Get up early and maybe wrap a blanket around you and go and take a look at those gorgeous views from your balcony. Now, if you're cruising out of Seattle, all Alaska cruises will go to Victoria, British Columbia. According to the Jones Act, you have to go to Canada before you go back home. So you can't expect to have Victoria, British Columbia on your itinerary. And we absolutely love this city. It was gorgeous. We enjoyed visiting it. Our itinerary from 5 weeks, we had a few that were daytime itineraries where we were there all day long. And then we had some that were nighttime itineraries. And we didn't have to leave until around 11:30, almost midnight some nights. So that was a little different for us. I do have a few videos on this. If you are going to Victoria, British Columbia, definitely check out these videos here. If you're going during the day, or even if you're going at night, it was a completely new experience trying to find things to do at night. And let me tell you, it's not always easy because they do shut some things down around 9 o'clock. So definitely check that out if you have a nighttime Victoria, British Columbia itinerary. Now, what are some things you should pack and take with you if you're going to an excursion or just going to the port? But first off, if you've made it this far, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe. It's completely free. And if you are still here, give me a hands up emoji in the comments below so I know you made it this far. Okay, so whether you are going on an excursion or just walking around the port, this is a #1 thing that you have to have with you is just a waterproof backpack. I love this one. It's a Sling Backpack. It's really nice. I've talked about it before in other Alaska videos. We really enjoyed this one. We even still take it with us when we're going on a Caribbean cruise. It's lightweight. We don't have to worry about overloading it, but this is perfect to carry around the port or take it on an excursion. Now, what do you need in this? I suggest bringing a bottle of water, sunscreen, bug repellent if you're going in June, July, and August, and also a battery backup. I was using my cell phone to take pictures and videos, and my phone went dead, so I had to quickly take Mark's phone so I could start taking pictures. So definitely make sure you bring a battery backup. You don't want to try to capture the whales or an eagle off in the distance and then your phone dies. So definitely make sure you're bringing a battery backup. You don't want to be caught with your battery running low. Now, why was I only using my phone to take pictures and videos? Well, that's because I brought my camera, but I forgot to bring my SD card. Ugh. So if you are wanting to take gorgeous pictures with your camera, be sure you bring your SD card. Have an extra one in your bag if you need it, but make sure you bring your SD card. And something else that I do recommend that you always have with you are a good pair of binoculars. Now, I would show you my binoculars, but I don't recommend getting mine. I cheaped out, and you get what you pay for, let me tell you. I highly recommend having a good set of binoculars with a good zoom. Now, this is some binoculars that one of the tour guides and another local even suggested that I use when I'm coming back to Alaska. And I should have bought some while I was still there, but I didn't. And I ended up sharing some with some other locals and friends on the cruise ship. But I highly recommend getting a pair of binoculars that has a good zoom, because let me tell you, I missed out on several opportunities to see bears off in the distance or an eagle flying by. And you don't want to miss those great moments. And when you're hearing everybody else talking about it, it's just, you don't want to miss those moments. Now, when you're going to any of these excursions or just walking around the port, you want to make sure you're dressing in layers. I talk about this more in depth in another video. I'll share that with you, but definitely make sure you're dressing in layers in the morning through the afternoon so you can just kind of shed some of those layers. I always made sure I was wearing like a Columbia rain jacket with a hood. That's all I really needed. Now we did have more of a rainier season this past season than what we did last year. So just make sure you bring something that is waterproof. Good pair of hiking shoes. These are mine, and oh my goodness, they were great shoes to walk around the cruise ship and out at the port and when we were doing any shore excursions. I also wore some hiking pants some of the times as well. These are great lightweight hiking pants that I wore in July because some of those afternoons got a little warm, but they were also really nice hiking pants as well. I even noticed that some of our tour guides were wearing the same type of hiking pants that I was wearing. So yay for me, they were great hiking pants. I really enjoyed them. Now on your fjord days, what do I recommend wearing? I recommend dressing warmly. Even if you're cruising in June, July, and August, I recommend dressing warmly because it's early in the morning, because it might be 65, 75 degrees later on in the afternoon, but it's going to be chilly in the morning. So definitely make sure you're dressing warmly, maybe a hat if you want it, but gloves, definitely wear gloves. I didn't bring any gloves. Next time I'm bringing gloves, and I'm going to make sure I'm bringing tech gloves because I was using my phone and it would make it so much easier. Now, are you planning on cruising during the prime season of July, even the beginning of August? If you are, definitely check out this video here for a little bit more of what you can expect during this season. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.